I don't have an intro for y'all today. I discovered this fake idiot who claims to be a master communicator, but he's actually a liar and a fraudster. And I'm going to spend the next few minutes roasting the absolute shit out of him because he deserves it. Our protagonist is this little man named Brendan, who is called Master Your Talk on Instagram. What he does is he posts these Instagram reels about how to be a better speaker and how to be a better talker, but he also has a weird strategy where he fakes being on podcasts, which he thinks it works for him, but it only gets him roasted in the comment section of every single one of them. Right away, one of the most important lessons he has for us is that we should never fake it.
Fake it until you make it. This is terrible advice. I tell my clients this all the time because human beings have trouble pretending to be someone that they're not. This is why my tip is confidence is never given, but always earned. So when you think about your life, I encourage you to develop a mindset of face it until you make it. Because if you do, you'll be able to take on the challenges in your life and become successful anyways. That's why for me, my clients know this. Even if I have a successful coaching business for communication, I still live in my mother's basement, and that's okay. When you're being real, people feel that and they want to be around you. And that's why you should never fake it until you make it.
Oh, man. I like how he had to have that connection at the end of the video. This is why you should never, and then the video loops again, fake it till you make it. That right there is actually a big sign of faking it. And he's also telling us that his clients are okay with him living in his mother's basement, even though he's making himself seem to be like this really successful guy. If I wanted to hire any kind of coach or speaker, and they tell me right away they live in their mother's basement, it's going to be an automatic no from me. I'd rather work with someone who is on their own and doing it already, someone who has the experience, instead of someone who's still living in their mother's basement. But he will explain in the next video why he lives in his mother's basements.
So many people ask me about my mother and why I still live in her basement in my late 20s, so I had to develop a little case study on why I do that. Reason number one is the average rent in the US is $1,300 a month. That's over $15,000 a year. So by living with her, I can reinvest that money into the business, and over 10 years, that's over $150,000. Reason number two is I could retire my mom. She's 55 years old. She doesn't have to work anymore because I only have to pay down one mortgage instead of two. And the third and the best reason, I don't have to do any chores. No cooking, no cleaning. I can put 100% of my focus just on the business, and my mom, my sister take care of everything else.
There's so many things wrong with this one. Let's start with the fact that he's pretending like he's on a podcast. He's talking to a wall like if it's a guest. Why would you even bother doing something like that, bro? It's absolutely dumb. Just talk to the camera like a normal human being. Don't fake it till you make it. Face it, like you said. And Brendan is saying that the average rent in the US is $1,300 a month. I don't know if it is, it might be, it might not be. What I do know is that when you look at Brendan's YouTube channel and you go to the About section, he says he lives in Canada and not America. So that's already another lie right there. And the coolest part about it is he doesn't have to do chores when he lives in his parents' house. He just gets his mother and his sister to do everything for him. He is in his late 20s, but he gets his parents to wash his clothes for him, to cook for him. That's the exact reason you need to move out of your parents' house, so you learn how to be a proper adult, you dickhead. Of course, he has to tell us that he wants to retire his mom. That's why he's not living on his own, so he can use the money to retire her. He's not telling us the reason he's not moving out is because he doesn't have the money to do so, because that's not sexy. That's not alluring. He can't get his clients that way.
When I'm talking to aspiring entrepreneurs, one question that drives me crazy is, Brendan, I love the name Master Talk. How did you come up with the name? And the answer will surprise you. There's no creative process. All I did was I got a couple of friends together and said, hey guys, I'm starting social media content, I'm public speaking. I have no idea what to call it. And I don't want to call it my name because Brendan Kumarasamy is literally impossible to spell. So how about we all come back with 50 names? So they all brought back a spreadsheet of 50 names. Ooh. We made a list of 200 and we picked one of them, and one of them was Master Talk. So many of you are using the business name as a reason not to start the business. Trust me, just get this process over with. It's the least of your problems.
Okay, let's unpack all that bullshit we just heard. This guy is clearly the master of talking and saying absolutely nothing. If you have friends who come to your house because you want to pitch them an idea for your business idea names, and then they each go home and bring you a spreadsheet with 50 names to help you brainstorm an idea for your next business name, you got the greatest friends in the world, because I don't know of any friend group that would actually do something like that. No friend group on earth is gonna do that for anybody. And he makes it seem like it's so simple. Yeah, I just brought my friends over, they, did that for me, and next thing you know, I got my name Master Talk. And it's not like Master Talk is this very complicated name that it takes a lot of brainstorming to come up with. If I went right now and I found a few toddlers on the street and I asked them, give me a name for a business idea that revolves around talking, one of them is going to say Master Talk. It's a guarantee. Something literally toddlers could do. And this guy is flexing on it like it's an important thing. But, I mean, he's talking to a wall and pretending like he's talking to a human being. If you look at some of the comments here, there's no creative process explains creative process. Exactly. I mean, these comments are amazing. Your friends did not do that shit. Yes, they didn't. That's absolutely true. Master Yapper. Genuinely, bro is talking to no one. I'm really happy to see people in the comments are not stupid and they're actually not believing this guy, because, man, he is so obviously fake.
I have this weird habit of making a list of problems that I think I'll have in the future so I can start solving for them right now. And they could be really small, like having a broken computer mouse, to something much more complicated, like a divorce or a passing in the family. But the trick is really to start with something easy. So in the case of the computer mouse, I just buy a second one. And actually, funny enough, my computer mouse broke a few weeks ago, so I had the backup. But when you start to picture and imagine the problems you'll have in the future, you'll have a much easier time mitigating them right now.
There's something so inauthentic about the way he speaks. It just makes you know he is completely faking whatever he's saying. And what he's saying is the dumbest thing ever. Like, you don't have enough problems in your life that you gotta think about problems you're gonna have in the future. That's the definition of having too much time on your hands, brother. You need to get a life. Stop trying to scam people, you dickbag, and get a life. Solve the problems you actually have, like moving out of your mom's basement. That's a start. Or how about you fix this hairline of yours, brother? It's literally going down the same way a stock graph goes down. The same way his stock is going down after this video goes public. That's what his hairline looks like. So get that problem taken care of first, man, before you talk about anything else. Don't waste your time thinking of problems you don't even have. That's the dumbest thing ever. That's the definition of living in worry. You're literally creating problems in your head that don't exist yet. Why would you even bother? Why? It makes absolutely no sense to me.
I find it really fascinating that rock bands like the Red Hot Chili Peppers always follow the same cycle over and over again. They get famous after years of struggling. Then they get lost in the damsels, the drinks, and all the bad stuff, and they break up. And then they come back together and do a redemption concert. But the reason that's interesting is nobody starting a rock band goes, hey, you know what, guys? Let's not make the same mistakes as everybody else before us. Let's just make a bunch of money and avoid all the bad stuff and create some impact. Even if people have made the same mistakes before us, as human beings, we tend to repeat the cycle again and again. So this is what I call skipping the line. Just don't make the mistakes. See what other people have done before you and just avoid them.
Watching this clip, you could be like, yeah, you know what? Maybe he's right. Bands break up all the time. They have a lot of problems, and it does happen. But he used the worst example possible because Red Hot Chili Peppers never actually broke up. They've always been together. They've slayed it, and they're still slaying it to this day. They've been around since like the, 1980 something? They never once broke up, and they're still killing it, but this idiot does not know that. He's just trying to scam you in different ways possible. He's throwing out fishing lines to try to scam his people and trying to get them to bite and buy his scam talk shit. I will say though, he can talk to a wall incredibly well. He's very skilled at talking to walls or empty spaces, and he does have a good microphone. I'll give him that much.
To be an exceptional podcast guest. I've been on over 500 podcasts, and the reason I do well is because of the question drill. I make a list of every possible question I can get asked on a podcast, and I ask myself, if I were to redo this question, how could I have done better? How could I have answered that same question better? And that's the secret behind podcast guesting, is you'll get the same questions over and over again, but that's also why most people stink at it, because they don't take the time to watch the tape, to re-listen to their episodes and ask themselves how they can get better.
500 podcast episodes. That's how many he's saying he's been on. 500, and he's in his late 20s. Do you know what kind of famous person you need to be on 500 podcast episodes as a guest? Not even Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, or literally anybody in existence has been a guest on 500 podcasts. No one. Literally zero. Zero. But, okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say this guy has skills that we mortal humans can never even aspire to have, and he somehow appears on 10 podcast episodes at the same time. He says he literally writes down every question he could be asked. Do you know how much time that would take? That's crazy. No one has that kind of energy or time to do that. It's like, yeah, so they might ask me where I went to school in 4th grade and who sat next to me in the second half of the year. So I got that answer written down. So when they ask me, I pull out of my ass and boom, I got you. For the record, rehearsing what you're going to say on a podcast makes you come across as inauthentic. If he's counting every reel that he's posted as a podcast episode, I mean, the ones where he's talking to walls, of course, well then, I guess he's been on over 1,000 because he posted that many videos, even though some of them are reposts.
Proximity is power. If you hang around the right people, you will get the results you're looking for because you'll see new opportunities you didn't see for yourself before. One of those examples was when I went to Florida to attend Funnel Hacking Live, an event hosted by Russell Brunson, the king of internet marketing.
He's not a
I
scammer.
met a guy who went to the same school as me, built $1 million practice in Facebook ads, and lives in Mexico. And I told him my problems around getting more clients. And he just looked at me and said, okay, you're DMing 100 people a week, just DM 1,000 and problem solved. It's such a simple idea, but it completely changed the direction of my business. And that's why.
This guy is so good at saying absolutely nothing. He's like, yeah, I was DMing 100 people. I'm not getting results. DM 1,000. Dude, you talk to a random person on the street, they can tell you that. It's the guy literally told you to work harder. Yeah, it's not working out for me. You know, I'm not getting the results I want. Work harder. And the angels come down from the heavens. You get a halo forming around your head. The spotlight comes down, and God looks upon you and says, all your problems have been solved. This guy is a genius in the language of Japanese. He is just spewing out BS left and right. Truly, his ass needs to be jealous of his mouth because of how much BS is coming out of it.
If you think you're an expert at nothing, create content anyways, because you don't have to do it for the world. Just do it for the people that you love, because this is the first time in human history that you can document and share ideas in a video format that lasts forever. I get excited by this all the time, how in 1,000 years, my great-great-great-grandson can watch this clip and say, oh, wow, that's how my great-great-great-granddad Brendan lived in this era. That's so cool. I can learn so much from how he lived his life. And that's magic. And I hope all of you do that with your families.
This guy obviously has hopes. He thinks he's going to procreate one day. I don't think that's possible. But if what he's saying is true, and he's making all these videos for himself, well then, he probably wouldn't have a website where he directs his potential clients to go to, right? But of course he does. His website is Rockstar Communicator, which is just, I mean, wow, absolute champion stuff. And it just seems like the most basic of HTML stuff that anyone could do. You pay a guy $5 on Reddit and he can design something like this for you, no problem. Brendan Kumarasamy, our protagonist, he's the founder of Master Talk, a coaching business. He started to help ambitious executives and business owners become top 1% communicators in their industries so that they can accelerate their success in the workplace and companies. He has coached many executives from companies like Salesforce, Amazon, IBM, Morgan Stanley, Blue Cross, J. Walter Thompson, Deloitte, Verizon, and the list goes on. He didn't coach any of them. He's just coached walls. That's it. He's a master wall coacher. That's about the extent of this website. Look at these testimonials, which are definitely not fake. I mean, yeah, these are absolutely legit testimonials that completely, these guys definitely took his course. They definitely paid him money for his expert speaking techniques.
Really successful in life, you must have delusional self-belief. And I tend to agree with this because people who win have to push through obstacles that are really hard. So if they really believe in themselves, they have the energy and the conviction to push those walls to the ground and get to the finish line. But I'll also say that my confidence isn't fully delusional. There was evidence in my life that pointed to the fact that I could be successful, even if I was a 22-year-old kid at the time. One was I coached 50 people on how to speak for free, and I got all of them results. And the second piece was when I started making videos on social media, even if they kind of sucked, people looked at me and said, wow, I've never heard of these tips before. And the last piece of evidence was I'd watch what everyone else was doing and I disagree with 90% of it. So I had evidence to prove the delusion.
There's such a lack of congruency in what his hands are saying, in what his words are saying, and what his eyes are saying. He's here either looking at a wall or maybe this time he's actually reading a teleprompter. But he's talking about you gotta have delusional self-belief. It's no. Delusion means you're an idiot. Yeah, I agree. You gotta believe in yourself like to a crazy extent, but you can't be delusional. And you know what peak delusion is? Listening to this guy. That's peak delusion. If you look at his YouTube channel, he's got 35,000 subscribers, over 1,000 videos posted. Most of them are the same reels from his Instagram. And he has these horrible thumbnail strategy. I mean, it's just honestly a really, really bad color code. And I'm not going to even watch a single one of these. Just looking at this guy, I don't think there is anything he can teach me. I mean, I'm judging a book by its cover, but not really, because after I saw his reels and his short videos, I know what I'm getting with this guy. He can give me absolutely nothing of value. If I felt like speaking to a wall could make me smarter, I would do that, but I'm just not that kind of guy. I think talking to other people is better than talking to a wall. And yeah, that's it for now. I'll see you next time.